You hear the screeching of an owl, you hear the wind begin to howl. You know there's zombies on the prowl, and it's terror time again. They've got you running through the night. It's terror time again, and you just might die of fright. It's a terrifying time.
You want some style to your rides around the block? Maybe you prefer some military vehicles instead of just the more suburban vehicles that you'd find at your local soccer mom meeting? Well, today I've got you covered with a large pile of vehicle mods that we're taking a look at. Before we begin, I want to give a shout out to Katophoenix for her lovely artwork. Now let's roll, shall we? I think we'll have a real good time. And there's no brakes on this ride. I hope you're not too tired of puns already. Unfortunately, no, this vehicle was not manufactured by the luxury car brand Cadillac. How hilarious would that be? But no, actually, this vehicle was created by Cadillac Gage, a military contractor before they were bought out in 1994 by Textron. This baby was manufactured as an amphibious assault vehicle, with some variants even have big-ass cannons or on some models, miniguns. This vehicle was recreated for Zomboid by KI5. It features an impressively large size and hefty trunk space, as well as plenty of battering power if you need to plow down some hordes. But don't think that armor will help you too much in wrecks, as a wreck still hurts quite a bit at full speed. And this baby without speed demon gets up to nearly 90 miles per hour on its own. Sadly, the vehicle cannot ford waterways like in real life, but that's to be expected. Would probably be a pain in the ass to code. Overall, I like the vehicle, lots of attention to detail, and with two main variants, one with and one without the gun, they certainly look cool as fuck. And another burnt out model that uses set dressing. Just keep in mind the gun, however, does not function, at least for now. It also comes in a wide variety of paint jobs, from military to KY Rangers, and more. An all-American classic car. Quite a sight on any streets, doubly so in the zombie apocalypse. This mod is brought to you by Mr. Danny. Now you can roll around Zomboid looking fly as hell and outrunning the hordes, especially as this vehicle without speed demon tops out at 110 miles per hour, which is quite fast as hell. You won't need Molotovs to burn down Muldraugh when you could burn rubber like this. Keep in mind though, once you top out, you'll have a harder time controlling your vehicle. Try to not spin out and crash into a tree and cripple yourself. It won't feel good, and it sure as hell will rough up your ride too. One visual aspect I really like is when the car is splattered in blood. The streaks make it look like zombies tried to cling to your hood and trunk and slid off due to being slick in blood. The car also boasts a moderate trunk capacity at 65 at full durability, and it also comes in 5 sexy colors. Overall, I like the mod, and it's a nice classic car brought to life in Zomboid. Fun fact, old school Impalas are very popular with old school gangsters, with EZE claiming to have bought a 1964 Impala at the age of 13. You ever wanted to be a true boss? I'm not talking about one of those little wannabe thugs you see down at your local Wally World or gas station flaunting their little wad of cash. Now, if you want to be a real boss, then check out the mod by Mr. Danny. Let me introduce you to the 1969 Mustang 429 Boss, coming in 10 beautiful varieties and even different models, from a lower end but still hot looking to the full deluxe package. And just like the Impala mod by Danny, the zombies splatter so well against this thing. The blood paint looks so nice, but keep in mind they also scratch the fuck out of your paint. Also keep in mind this vehicle has a very high top speed. Be sure not to wreck it or else. Like, it pretty much tops out the Gage entirely. And that's not even using Speed Demon. Overall, I'm quite pleased with this mod. It really nails the all-American muscle car aesthetic, and damn is it a blast flying through the streets with this speed machine. Plus it's a classic Mustang. What looks cooler than old school muscle cars? Marty, we've got to go back. Back to the Future without zombies! Oh fuck, the time machine's broke in this car. Well, at least thanks to Mr. Danny once again, we can escape the hordes the old-fashioned way. And while we may not be burning rubber through time, at least we can look cool as we book it out of Dodge. And great Scott, would you look at how fast it goes? Way faster than the movie's 88 miles per hour, but pretty close to the real life top speed of 110 miles per hour. Once again, Danny shows some fine attention to detail with how the blood splatters all over the car on the front and back. The main downside of all these fancy sports cars is definitely finding replacement parts to patch them up and keep them in service. Well, hopefully the next couple of mods can seek to fix that particular issue, or at least mitigate the damage a little bit. But let's face it, you'll be looking pretty McFly in this car no matter where you go. Here comes Eggon, the man who balanced fanny packs back to balance cars in a way that indeed does seem quite logical and realistic. This mod changes 3 features of vehicles primarily. First up is the fact that trunks no longer lose capacity from taking damage and running down zombies. Honestly, this one makes a lot of sense because why the hell do you lose space from a trunk? I mean, the only way logically it would happen is if the trunk was completely pierced or rusting away. Bumps from running down hordes or crashing in the trees and objects at low speeds wouldn't do that. The only other way I could logically see is if you hit the car at high speed going in reverse, crumpling the back of the car. But if that's the case, your car is going to have worse to worry about than just the trunk. The second change is a change to the trunk capacity overall. The general rule of thumb is the larger the vehicle, the more storage the vehicle can contain. While this is somewhat a thing in game, it makes it much more logical and accurate to the real life storage capacities, with say the van being able to hold up to 300 pounds of equipment, that being the step van. Eggon also makes flavor changes to some of the variant versions of vans, such as the ambulance and radio vehicles cannot hold as much as the plain van due to the fact they'd be stuffed with equipment from the job they formerly did, such as gurneys or radio equipment. The final change is the loudness. The larger heavy-duty vehicles are obviously going to be much louder than the little rinky-dink Dart, which is the quietest car in the mod. Both in your ears and for attracting the hordes of the undead. Overall, it's a solid mod and I like the changes. It definitely makes cars even more useful and reliable tools in the apocalypse. This mod turns those burnt out wrecks back into actual cars again, albeit heavily damaged and falling to pieces. You can do one of 2 things with these now. In exchange for the ability to scrap them to pieces for metalworking, you gain the ability to salvage usable parts off the cars that could be used to repair other non-burnt out vehicles. Or if you're truly mad and you want to go for that post-apocalyptic feel, you can even repair the burnt out wrecks to make them into working, albeit buggy vehicles. I mean, the first bug I encountered made me chuckle. Like I go to pull out of the parking lot with my newly repaired junkmobile, and all 4 of the tires fall off, which personally I found was unexpected but hilarious. Though that could definitely cause trouble if you need to get out and go right then and there. Good news is the vehicle does still move without the tires, albeit very slow to gain speed, and you have pretty much no turning radius as it's very slowly at turning. Once again, Planet Algol finds a way to show up in these videos, and I gotta say this is a pretty cool if clunky mod. Another change he made is adding scrap vehicles to parking lots and such, which definitely makes them more prevalent and by association makes car parts more prevalent. The final caveat I have to note is windows cannot be repaired in all the junkmobiles. So keep that in mind, the zombies may be able to injure you as you won't have protection from their swipes. Smarter Mechanics is created by a penguin with a copper cap. He sets out to make mechanics less punishing on the player, removing the random chance of receiving damage to the parts when you have the right level to remove them, and also reduces the chance of failure on certain tasks. Overall, it's a simple mod in both premise and execution, but it does make cars a bit easier to use and easier to jump into. It would probably pair well with the Rex Have Parts mod, as this would give you a nice source of spare parts to rip and put in the vehicle and preserving those parts conditions. I think that's a good place to wrap up this video. Please Please let me know if you want me to cover more vehicles or car related mods. I'm certainly willing to take a look and see what else I could find for you. There's plenty of them. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I thank you for the support on all the content I've been making. Please be sure to support Katophoenix over on Twitter and check out her fantastic artwork. Flood her tweets with bird photos. This has been Core, and I'll see you next time.